Fest. That is all going to be answered right now. Winstrike on the defense first, Snakes on the offense.
When it comes to Widow versus Widow Fest, we can cast our minds back into the ancient history that was map 1 Ilios. We did see we saw some parity between Asking and Kenzie when it came to Widow versus Widow, but eventually Asking was just put under more pressure by the supplemental DPS coming out of Unfixed on that Sombra, which meant that he lost out in quite a few more of those team fights rather than the Widow versus Widow duels. But now, of course, Winstrike, being our home team in the green, are going to be defending first, and Snakes are going to be on the attack to begin with in the white. Not that they've changed colors, of course. That's just how the home and away skins work in competitive Overwatch for anyone who has been living under a rock and not watched Overwatch League.
Winstrike running that double sniper com with the 2 dive tanks on defense. Now, we do see Aang and Main, obviously. They are going to be on the Mercy and Zenyatta, not too much of a surprise there. Unfixed is going to get an early damage boost in order to get a little bit of ult charge. Also reveal everybody's positioning as well. See that Sonic arrow landing right above the spawn of Snakes. That's going to mean that Winstrike know exactly what's coming for them from the Snakes offense. It will be the dive coming out with the Tracer and the Widowmaker to hang back once the space has been created by Christopher and Meta. They're deciding when they want to come in. They have been revealed, and they're going to take a quick bit of damage. You can see Kodak now is under pressure from Sharek. Kenzie's been bought low, so he's going to have to duck, dip, dive, and dodge out of the way of that Widow duel. Christopher and Meta going extremely low, and in fact, Asking is going to take an arrow as well. Going to force the rest of Snakes back under this archway, and with a damage-boosted body shot, Zapre is going to fall, and in fact, Christopher as well. Looked like he tried to go to Zapre's aid there, but unfortunately, ended up getting picked off also. Kenzie consistently getting body shot here, but Asking can't quite hit the headshot that he needs. So, well, speaking of headshots being hit, Kenzie taking Asking to school. And now, nice. Snakes didn't have very much of a successful attack there. The only sort of ultimate charge that has been generated has been Cave healing people up from those highly damaging arrows of the Contagious Beam. Almost got himself a Valkyrie, but he's got to be incredibly worried that while he does have that Valkyrie, he could be taken down by the burst damage of either Unfixed or Kenzie. Speaking of burst, here comes the Dragon Strike. Yeah, could just get taken down by that as well. You can see Zapre is going to go fall first. Thing is, that D-Mech is going to be rather frustrating for the rest of Snakes. Mete maybe going back to spawn here to change up to get the quick remech. Remember, Winstrike are holding on to this far right position here, so not too many targets to actually take down with that Bunny Blaster. Asking finally finding the kill on Kenzie. Wrecking Ball, Mete, he's sticking on it. All right, let's go. He wants to try and carve a path through, rather. Zapre is going to be delivering a pulse onto Chow, and now Unfixed quite out on his own, trying to make his way through a window. Will find a big health pack. Oh, Kenzie takes out Asking as well. They're going to go into this high ground. Mete's still on the Wrecking Ball, so he wants to be able to make this work. Pile driver onto the point. Oh, no. He's going to use that adaptive shield, with that Transcendence coming in from the rest of his team as well. Snakes are forcing their way onto the point. Unfixed still up on the top there. He's going to get dived on by Christopher, but Christopher, half HP before he even landed, is going to go down to the likes of Chow and the Hanzo Master. We are going to see Mete back off. 50% ult charge on the minefield, but Sharek finds 2 with the Primal Rage. Kenzie's going to have to take his time to get back, though. He's going to have that grapple on a longer cooldown as he comes on back. Unfixed has been very aggressive thus far, usually playing on the low ground where you see that Overwatch spray, which has now been removed. And now Asking knows exactly where everyone is. The infra sites are up, so there are no surprises coming through from Winstrike here. Unfixed is going to be very telegraphed in where he brings out this particular... Oh, the pile driver. Beautiful pile driver to get himself onto the high ground. Unfixed going very low. Those flat cannons doing a lot of damage. He is going to use that adaptive shield also to gain a lot of sustainability in this fight. Another pile driver onto the point. Didn't quite get any knockups. Chow is going to actually contest it here, and Asking is going to go down to Sharek. So they left their backline a little bit high and dry. Chow is going to get demeched, and in fact is going to be able to remech here almost, but Cave ends up getting him in the end. Mete with that minefield is going to be able to lay that down on the point if he so chooses. He's going to try and find himself another pile driver, but he has one tanky hamster as he activates that adaptive shield once again. Batted onto the point is Main. He was the last one alive. Snakes eventually capped the point, but with only a minute to spare. And thankfully here, Mete has managed to save his minefield, which means they can all go forward with the speed boost from Cave. They can have control of the point by laying down that minefield, making sure that if Winstrike come on, they have to try and clear out those mines first, which take quite a bit to destroy. They take 2 Zenyatta orbs, because I believe each has 50 HP. Oh, Mete going very low. Early adaptive shield. Minefield being used there to deny a lot of space. Kenzie and in fact Main a little bit in trouble. They have to actually work their way through those mines. Doesn't seem too much of a problem for them though. Winstrike are going to claim the rest of Snakes. A very quick push. In fact, a team kill coming through from Winstrike. Mines or no mines, it doesn't matter because we can just move around them. Winstrike knew exactly what the play was there. They made sure that Mete was forced to use that ultimate in a less than ideal position by putting a huge amount of damage onto him as he moved forward with that grappling hook. Now Unfixed, making sure he can put down a little bit more damage before these guys reach the aperture.
whereby you would enter point B of Anubis. And Snakes have had to pretty much entirely reset their ult economy when they move up to this different composition. Asking is back on his Hanzo, which has been incredibly good thus far. And already, Christopher has been hit with that Sonic Arrow, so he's revealed to the remainder of Winstrike.
Nice shot by Asking there. It's going to clip unfixed. There's the Dragon Strike though, and actually a very, very brief dive from the Winston. It actually is going to find Zapray, and Asking is going to go down as well to those micro missiles and those cannons coming out from Chow. Another quick defense here from Winstrike. They got themselves a self-destruct and a Primal Rage and a couple of support ults as well. So Snakes, they're going to have to make a couple of eco pushes here, it seems.
And speaking of quick, Jaws, it wasn't the quickest cap of the first point from Snakes either. They've only got 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in that time bank overall as they try and move into point B. And of course, like you said, they're going to need to make a few eco pushes because Winstrike have so many ultimates available. They have basically none. They're going to have the Primal Rage, they're going to have the Valkyrie soon as well, but they don't really want to invest those against such a huge bank from Winstrike.
Christopher jumping in, using that Primal Rage fairly early. Cave moving forward and activating his ultimate as well. But Christopher's going to go down. Remember, he was in the backline all alone there, discorded, and ends up falling rather quickly. Now Snakes, losing one member, are going to be able to get a little bit of comeuppance in main falling, but a resurrection easily in the back line. Doesn't matter how many heads Asking actually clicks here. If they are in not a nice position, they are going to get instantly resurrected by Winstrike. Still, only using that one ultimate coming through from them. 5 now to go.
And we talked about economy pushes. Usually you're supposed to use less ultimates than the people you're trying to economy push against. Both of the Primal Rage and the Valkyrie be used there, but Unfixed going to invest now.
Nice Dragon, splitting up the entirety of Snakes, and now they can move forward. Kodak's going to unleash that Transcendence, keeping the rest of this push alive and well. Asking going extremely low, didn't quite land on that small health pack either, nor did he land on that Transcendence, so it's going to get deleted by Sharek. Now Christopher moving and trying to protect his backline from getting killed by the very, very angry Winston. Chow and Unfixed find themselves kills, and another quick reset from Snakes here. Haven't got a lot of time left, already burnt through 2 minutes. 2 minutes now remain.
Indeed they do, and very few ultimates to their name as well. They've got the rally, so Zapray can make sure they're all well armored before they move in here. But I feel like Brigitte isn't the best pick right now. He's not really doing much against Unfixed on that Hanzo. He can't really defend everyone because the shield radius or area is too small to defend everyone from those incoming arrows. He tries to lead the way in after Christopher when he goes in with that Primal Rage, but he just isn't fast enough with that Lucian.
Another jump or attempted jump onto Unfixed, but this could be the opening they're actually asking for here and looking for. Eng is going to fall down to Asking. He's going to jump up, and Winstrike doing a good job right now, just corralling themselves back onto the point, and a Transcendence is going to keep the rest of the time alive for now. Cave activating that Valkyrie form is going to keep everybody nice AoE healing field coming through from him, and Asking finds his revenge on Unfixed. Sending out those dragons as well is going to stop them from coming from that direction for the brief moment. Another Dragon Strike being used, but Snakes have an answering Transcendence, and Kodak is extremely healthy after that rally. In fact, the entirety of Snakes are as well. They've got 2 tank ultimates to work with too to buy a lot of space. Asking moving towards his another Dragon Strike here, almost 50% on his, and Chow being demech too. This is bad news bears for Winstrike.
It's looking good, but they need to do it in the next 50 seconds if they want to get a second attack. Sharek's fallen down to Christopher with all of the assists, and we'll have to see if Asking can build up towards yet another Dragon Strike.
2 more ticks now acquired for Snakes. Eng is going to find the resurrection onto Sharek. Hasn't got that Primal Rage, who can't buy too much time, but that Transcendence sure will. Another Dragon Strike coming through, this time from Winstrike. Doesn't do all too much, but Askings might just do that. Kenzie is just corralled into this small corner and surrounded by the entirety of Snakes, and they are going to be able to take him down and sacrifice him to the gods of their team. And now Snakes still have that Transcendence of their own to work with. 2 in this fight already. Another couple of kills for Mete as that self-destruct does end Eng's life, and they are able to get the complete cap and round 1 completion.
It wasn't the prettiest, but it was a completion, and crucially they have some time left in the bank. That means that if we do see a completion from the side of Winstrike, they will have a courtesy minute on the side of Snakes. And we do have a pause. It does look like we have a disconnect coming through from Zapray there. Hello.
I don't know why I was looking at my feet there. I was making sure I was standing in the right position.
Yeah, we need to make sure our shoes are clean. Even if you can't see them, it means a lot to us.
All right. Can't really shine them though.
They're fine. They're fine.
They're fine. Well, just have our word for it, that is.
Speaking of shining shoes, all of the T's were crossed and all of the I's were dotted by Snakes on that final attack. They managed to move forward very well, made sure they weren't too discordant when they were split up by those dragons, and were always on the same targets as well, so they could try and get the same people down.
During this DC, guys, we're going to jump to a quick break. We'll be back with round number 2 very soon. Hey guys, welcome back. We are jumping into round number 2. Small disconnect on the side of Snakes, but nothing to worry about. No worries. Now, round number 1 completed. Not too much time left in that time bank. Only 15 seconds. Obviously, we'll give a courtesy minute as well for when they go on their attack next time, if Winstrike do manage to get the full completion here. But it is going to be Snakes on the attack, and that's something they don't want to see.
Indeed, Winstrike now have to try and set a pace if they can get a full completion here. If they complete in overtime, then also they will get a courtesy minute because Snakes have less than a minute in their own time bank. But we'll have to see first if Winstrike can get over the first hurdle on cap point A. We saw from themselves on the defense, the point A is incredibly hardy now if you can bring out the right compositions to try and deal with it. For Winstrike, that was with double sniper. They had Kenzie in the back, and then they had Unfix basically frontlining with Hanzo alongside Sharek, making sure that all of the jumps, which for Winston did, were very much different. Were doing a huge amount more damage than you'd expect from just a solo Winston. Zapri's just playing with me right now.
Yeah,
he was hovering the Torbjorn, and I was wondering if they were going to put him up behind like an Arista shield, but not today. Instead, Asking is out on that wrecking ball.
Is he?
Is he, though?
Is he? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he's having a little bit of fun as well. Can get back to the spawn rather quickly.
Yeah, I think he's just having a bit of fun.
Yeah, there you go. Toying with our hearts a little bit there. Double sniper on the defense, though, this time. A little bit of a different tank setup.
Yeah, no
Snakes.
dive.
No dive at all. They're just going for this full hold, solid hold. And Christopher running that Arista, and obviously the Hog as well.
And Cave here is going to be the solo healer, so he's going to have to be very careful about where he positions himself. He needs to be incredibly disciplined behind Christopher's shield. But if Winstrike identify that and they know the SSA behind Christopher's shield, that makes him incredibly predictable in his positioning. That means that Sharek and Unfix can try and get a good dive down here. Chow's going to take some early damage from a headshot straight away, taking away a lot of that armor, but of course it can be healed up now for some ultimate charge for Winstrike supports.
Thank you very much, says Eng. I'll just heal up damage. Thank you for the 10%. No worries.
Different planes they're playing on. Kodak's down on the floor right now.
Asking has built up 26% odd on his. And who do you dive here? You obviously have to dive the Mercy, yes, but Asking is going to be rather free if you do so. Same with Zappo, really. It's going to be all on Unfix. This switched over to the Genji. Another nice hero pick of his. We haven't seen too much Unfix Genji this season, but it's always nice when we do see it, especially with this full dive comp. You can see already denying the jump from the Winston. Taking a lot of damage in the front line is Kodak. He's going to have to fall back to point here as Mete gets demeched really early.
And Christopher uses his shield there as he moves, so that's not going to be available for another 9 seconds, especially not for Asking as he's chased down. Does look like the remainder of Snakes are going to be following in hot pursuit as well.
Beautiful deflect from Unfix there as well, reflecting most of that shrapnel and denying the demect onto Mete too. But Christopher finds a nice kill as he did get hooked in from Kodak. Kodak stays alive throughout all that, takes a rebreather and is able to take out Aang. They are forced all the way back to this small little corridor. However, Winstrike do have to go for the full reset, but look how much space they've been granted.
Zabrain Asking will be returning to the fray as well, of course. Down goes to Sonic Arrow, which is going to be revealing Unfix and his machinations as he moves forward. Shark taking a little bit of damage and hasn't quite yet been caught out by the Holt just yet. Zapray has the Dragon Strike ready to go as well, should it be required, and he knows exactly where everyone is thanks to the infrasites coming through from Asking.
Nice couple of shots on Shark. It's going to get healed up rather rapidly by Aang and Mei. Now Unfix has this Dragon Blade. This is exactly what we want to see, and he's going to have to take out Zapru pretty quickly. Well, he doesn't need it, actually. Apparently, Kenzei's got his number. Unfix does unleash the blade, and he's going to be able to get into the back line to that small room. Perfect for that Genji blade who can slide through multiple targets. Does get dragged in by Kodak, but a quick deflect to stop him from shooting himself. And will be Kodak just getting mincemeated right now. There's no real way he's going to be able to survive that as soon as Christopher goes down. No shield, no problem. Kenzie does take him out. A Dragons from the spawn here from Snakes. Asking is going to jump onto the, well, re-jump onto the Hanzo, it seems, actually. And a quick cap from Winstrike. A little bit more time in the time bank, almost 6 minutes.
Zapre now moving over onto that Brigitte, and you can see that Unfix doesn't want to deal with that. Going over to a second sniper. The Hanzo's on the field. He's grown up as a Shimada. He's moved into the shoes of the older brother and picked up his bow and arrow. Kenzie already scouting out, but Mede's going to be there trying to deny him the space. Christopher's moved over as well onto the Winston, now running the dive tanks instead of that more stationary composition that we saw before. But of course, main Sharek and Chow ready to come over with some ultimates and try and force this forward. A healthy time bank currently for Winstrike, 5 minutes and 20 on the clock.
Transcendent. Sharek almost went down, so that was rather needed coming up from the side of Winstrike. Chow is going to send that self-destruct into the back line as well. Asking got to be careful, and in fact, Cave. He's going to go down, and actually Kenzie taking out Mete too, denies the remake completely. They're going to cement themselves on the point. Meng is going to finally find the kill onto Christopher, who was trying to delay for as much as he could. 2 ticks now been acquired, and look, 5 minutes still remain. They were able to get a complete cap, just rolled that right through. Round 2 completed with a superior, vastly superior time bank.
Yeah, K-Ver should have asked for some advice from asking as to how to hide from a particular diva bomb. Chow knew exactly where to put it. On top of that pillar, great area. That was the perfect zone denial from the diva of Winstrike, and you can see why Chow was such a highly rated player when it comes to these teams, because he knows exactly how to place these bombs, knows exactly how to play the diva in an incredibly aggressive manner so he can brawl out. But like we talked about, Snakes will get their courtesy minute, but the 45 seconds they were afforded will also go into Winstrike's time bank, so they're looking very healthy. They've gained 1 minute and 44 seconds over the course of that attack.
That's got to feel good, especially coming off the back of Eichenwald. Remember, this was Snake's pick as well. Oh no, sorry, it was Winstrike's pick, sorry. Lost my train of thought there, and in fact I contradicted myself. My brain exploded a little bit. So all these new heroes we're seeing, man, I'm saying. Seeing a lot of Sombra, maybe she hacked my brain, I don't know. She can hack thoughts, that'd be actually devastating. Not only is she a hacker, but she's a lot more than that. I don't know what to call it.
Turning off Jaws' brain.
Oh dear, happens a lot. So I'm not that high rated, unlucky. Snakes on the offense though, Winstrike on the defense. Remember the attacking side, the team with the lesser time bank always goes for the attack first on round number 3. 10 seconds remain though. You can see Winstrike doing what they do best, and that's double sniper on the defense.
Meanwhile, Snakes are potentially going for a full dive here with a Moira instead of a Zenyatta. We're going to be lacking that Discord orb. It's going to mean that it's going to be far harder to try and take out those targets. Kodak is instead going to be with them with that Biotic Grasp, making sure that the tanks can survive a little bit longer, give that good cone of effect healing. They don't have that much time to wait around at the moment. Straight away, they're moving into Sharek, but Kenzie's ready. He's already repositioned, and he's anticipating the movement of the Snakes slithering through.
Unfixed, very good Sonic arrow there, revealing the entirety of Snake's roster. They've gone for double dive here, and double dive tanks as well. Kodak and Cave are going to have a little bit of a trouble to actually heal up. They're going to have to really throw an orb in and hope the DPS soak most of that healing. Zapre is going to find the sniper, but you can see Kenzie instantly turning his direction and spotting him out. He's going to harass the supports in the back line, but he's going to have to force use that recall. They are on the point, however. They've got to actually do something about this. With Asking taking out Unfixed, they are going to be able to secure a tick for themselves.
Coalescence was active, giving everyone a little bit more hardy in the face of danger. Kenzie taken down, didn't know where Asking was, and now he's got his eyes on the Mercy instead. Fan after fan and reset after reset.
Oh, Asking gets 3 kills at the end of it all. Winstrike didn't even see it coming. I've got a few ultimates available. However, Winstrike give up that defense rather quickly. Snakes just rolled in and, well, Asking, he was there to cut him up.
Snakes took their time. They used all of their time on one attack rather than trying to go for 2 rather scrappy ones. Unfixed moving over now to a rarity on Contenders Europe. He's brought out the Reaper. There's a Pulse one, but the Primal Rage will save Sharek.
Will shave Sharek. He's going to jump back to the rest of his team.
Shaved Gorilla.
Doesn't want it. That's a very weird image. He doesn't want to give up too much ult charge, especially to Asking, but he's already got the blade. It'll be done to Winstrike. He's going to pull it out. Gets instantly slammed against the wall. Transcendence to save the rest of his team, and he's going to get saved by that sound barrier as well. He's going to duck and dive and dodge around the Brigitte, but ends up getting taken out by Meng, the person that he actually wanted to kill in the first place. Self-destruct onto the side here. Isn't going to find anybody just yet, but they're still cementing themselves on the point. But they're running straight into Unfixed. He's already found one, he's found another, and now another one as well. 3 kills, in fact 2 kills in the D-Mech as Chow finishes off Mete. There we go, 3 kills onto Kodak. Overtime, Wick burning through. They are able to complete round 3 with only 1 additional point on the board.
Very intelligent there from Unfixed. He knew there were only 30 seconds on the clock. You got to come to me. You don't have time to try and negotiate these picks beforehand. I know you're going to come in with that blade, which is a close range ultimate. I know I'm going to be able to survive it because we've got the Transcendence ready. So I'm just going to be there with the Hellfire Shotgun. It's going to lay down a huge amount of fire on you. I'm going to force you to use the sound barrier to try and save that while Asking can't get anything done because of a Transcendence. And then I'm going to tear your tank line apart. Mete and Christopher just going to be lunch for Reaper.
Yeah, they knew exactly where they wanted to play that, and they knew exactly how Snakes wanted to play that too, up in your face. So Reaper, perfect for that, right? Melts tanks, couple of headshots.
You can come in my face what you want.
Yeah, you can one-shot tracers too. Rather frustrating if you're the tracer, mind you.
Absolutely. Sure. You feel so evasive as tracer, and then it's all over.
Just get one clicked. So, well, I'm dead, I guess. And even with the Hellfire Shotguns too, remember Reaper received a buff a few patches ago. Does mean he's a little bit more sustainable. He's got a little bit of leech on his weapons.
20%, I believe.
It's very juicy when you go up against
I think
tanks.
we do 135 damage maximum per shot, so that's a fair amount of healing you can give yourself, so you don't really need to demand that from your support. When you've got 3 on the go, you're getting a lot of healing anyway.
And Winston does a whole lot less than he ever used to do to a Reaper. So that feels pretty good if you're the Reaper, in all honesty. And felt pretty good for Chow. Or Unfixed, I should say. And now Winstrike on the offense. They are going to run Unfixed on the Genji once more, and Kenzie on the Widowmaker.
And they're going instead for this, well, it's the same defensive composition here from Snakes. Arsing's looking out to see if Kenzie's going to be up to any shenanigans, and he sees the shot coming through, but Kenzie's going to quickly reposition now. Shield's going down, so Arsing's going to have to run away. Misses the first grapple. 0% grapple accuracy.
Unlucky. He tried. Doesn't go on cooldown though, unless it actually hits something, so he's going to be all right for the moment. And now Winstrike taking a rather slower approach. Remember how much time they have at the time bank. They almost have 6 minutes. They gained an extra 1 minute and 44 seconds if you cast your mind back to last round. Cave going extremely low, but Christopher is going to be able to take out main to start us off with, so already a big healing loss for Winstrike, and a big DPS loss also as Kenzie falls.
And main's on his own on the right-hand side here. They could potentially go and chase him down. There's the Holt, no hook to combo with it though, and Unfixed goes in with the reflect. He's going to get Zapray in the head.
All right, okay, reflects an arrow straight back to his younger brother, and that does mean there's going to be a forced resurrection from Cave onto Zapray.
Ooh,
that was very close, Asking. You don't really want to dice with Unfixed. 80% charge on the Dragon Blade too. That reflect gaining a whole bunch of charge for him, and just looking like they're playing for ultimates here. Asking is going to find Aang in the end, and only one ult online ready here for Snakes right now anyway. Cave's going to have his very soon. There we go. Ticks over.
And you can see here that Snakes are making sure they don't give up the high ground before they manage to bend back onto a point very early. And that meant that Kenzie could really control where he was. But here's the real test for Snakes. They don't have a defensive ultimate to deal with it apart from Valkyrie. Unfixed has the blade. This was their undoing last time.
Well, they have to maybe spot it out with those imp sights, although 20% away is Asking right now. They don't want to give up any charge. You can see Winstrike here. They have to get that element of surprise. There's Unfixed. He's got the blade. The whole hog's going to come straight for him, though. But the problem is he's already killed one of your DPS. Zapray is going to launch the dragons in time, though, and actually kill Meng in the end. Another duel with a sniper is Unfixed. That was just cruel. You had shurikens, man. You don't need to just slice her up with the melee. He's going to kill Asking, and that is going to be free food for him and free ult charge as well. Almost goes down to the hook and the sinker from Kodak, but the problem is Christopher's going to get dove on. So vulnerable is the Orisa from these dive tanks and dive DPS. Extremely decisive push from Winstrike. 60% on another blade as well. They only need one more point to claim match point in the series.
Both Unfixed and Asking loaded upon a Genji Shurria right here. And Unfixed used his blade. He's now up to 76% again. That's a lot of hit shurikens, and you could see that he knew exactly where Asking was going to be retreating to. Straight into that small health pack frame. He was there with his knife. Didn't even use for shurikens. Make sure he staggered him out a little bit. Kenzie is going to be also warded away. Christopher coming in with a quick dive, and Cave's going to take a love tap from across the map. He's going to have to hide away now until that passive healing will bring him back.
Unfixed now diving onto the tanks, Asking, switching over now from the Widowmaker straight onto the Hanzo. It's going to do a lot of work, and in fact, a lot of work is going to be done to him also, as Unfixed dives extremely aggressively in. There's a Transcendence coming through from Winstrike, and a Dragon Blade is available from Unfixed. It's going to spot the monkey up onto the high ground there, but Winstrike still moving their way onto the point. Remember, they only need one tick here. Meta going extremely low, sends a self-destruct in midair, but Unfixed is going to dash through it. Kodak takes him out, though. He gets it with the damage boosted. Orbs of Destruction is going to keep the team alive and winning in this game.
Now he is. He's stuck in the corner. He's got 80 health, and he's wondering where everyone is. Can't yet put out the Harmony Orb onto someone. He's found the Winston. Is he going to be able to win out the duel? He will with the help of Mete.
Boy, Zapray even jumping onto the emergency Doomfist as well. That could have been their undoing, and now Unfixed, he's had enough of it. Doesn't want the embarrassment to be faced with yet again. He's going to jump onto that Hanzo instead. It's
worth noting at this point that the best that can be hoped for by Snakes here is a draw, because they didn't have the entirety of a tick on third point. So right now, that's what they're playing for. Zapray's going to be up here covering Mete in case he's dived upon by any members of Winstrike. Kenzie's moved over now from the Widowmaker onto that Brigitte, making sure that Zapray can't go in too deep without worrying about that shield bash stun.
Zapray uses his entire rotation of cooldowns here. Is going to find another rocket punch, but he's in big trouble. Prime and Rage and Winston straight after him. In fact, both tanks are. Zapray running for the heals. Has to go back to the point for the heals. Not something you usually see as a Doomfist. Two tanks charging over you. Exactly.
This is a fist.
Primal Rage already used by Winstrike, and they got a couple of ultimates to work with also. Meteor Strike being used on Zapray here, goes for the supports in the back line, doesn't quite find anybody, only a little bit of damage. Cave's there to actually heal him up, and a Transcendence coming through from Winstrike, staggering out these ultimates to perfection. Dragons do come around to force Snakes onto the point here, but a Transcendence will keep them all alive.
Oh, that's a great self-destruct
coming through from Winstrike to force everybody back to the point. They might not be able to touch it in time, they do not. Zapray tries for the uppercut, but that self-destruct ends up winning Winstrike the map.
We often call ults, zoning ults, as a joke, but that was Chow giving a masterclass on how a zoning ultimate can work in your favor, especially when you've got a very specific win condition. Well, you know, they just need to be off the point for like 30 seconds, not 30 seconds, like 3 seconds. That'll do for us, and that was exactly what they achieved.
That's right in the corridor as well. So it was either go back to spawn, go around, you haven't got enough time, or run head first, straight into the Soldier Strike. They didn't have a bubble from a Winston or anything like that, so they weren't able to subvert all that damage. And that just led them scurrying away. And Zapra, you can see there on the corner of your eye and the corner of the camera, just tried to get back on with a rocket punch, but it just didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't quite work as he expected. Didn't get as much out of that Meteor Strike as he'd like either, which could have potentially lost that for the side of Snakes.
Well, Winstrike now with a map up against Snakes. Match point as well. This could be the semi-final hopes and dreams of Snakes on the line. We'll have to wait and see what they're going to do for map number 4 in a bit. Hey guys, welcome back. Map number 4 coming up on your screens very shortly. Winstrike right now, match point versus Snakes. And apparently if you just pick the map, you end up winning the map.
Yeah, who would have known? Maybe it's a little bit of research, playing to your own strengths. We've got a little fly over there by the Contenders.
Slightly distracted, you're like, oh, fly.
Ooh, a fly. But we aren't here to talk about insects, Jaws. We're here to talk about snakes, which are reptiles, as far as I'm aware. And it's going to be their map pick as we move in onto Escort. And I wonder if they're going to play something that gives them a little bit more freedom to play the Widowmaker. And there it is, Watchpoint Gibraltar. It's been very much owned by Widowmakers thus far in the series. We have seen Zapray bring out an emergency Doomfist on first point before as well, which has been very much tantamount to success here for the Snakes.
Okay, this is a map that I think works pretty well in the favor of the Hamster in Wrecking Ball. It's got a very nice ceiling for you to swing off of, and the high ground as well to contest these pesky snipers, using more of as a dive tank than anything else. Remember, that adaptive shield gives you so much survivability.
Up to 700 extra HP.
Just do it. Just do it. Well, Snakes on the defense first up. That will be Winstrike on the offense. Now, we are going to see what Snakes are going to want to do here, because we have seen Asking already face off against Kenzie's Widow, and it has come up more or less in the Kenzie basket here. We saw it on Ruins, and it was Kenzie just taking control of the pace of the game, and Asking just not really having a word in. And the only time he was able to actually kill Kenzie was when his tanks were just pressuring that back line.
Yeah, it feels like Winstrike, they don't have Kenzie as a sole operator. They instead pour a lot of resource into making sure he's got as much of the necessary sort of space as possible to try and work. Whereas Asking is he's more of a solo kind of guy. He does get the double pocket now and then when he's on either the Hanzo or the McCree in earlier series, but when he's playing the Widowmaker, he doesn't demand as much attention. Instead, we've got to look after Zap right here.
All right, a little bit of dive here coming through from Winstrike. Kenzie on the Widowmaker, not too much of a surprise. Ciao. Yep, he's looking at Sharek's bubble like, come on, man. You only had one job. Just lay it on the
job.
Just lay it on the catwalk.
That's a 2-star review on Yelp.
Oh yes. What you review different people's tanks on Yelp?
Yeah, man.
That's a dangerous place to be, man. They're all anonymous. Come on. Yeah, you can blame your teammates.
Yelp is dangerous.
Yes, it is. So is the Tesla cannon coming through from Christopher. Unfix dispatched off rather quickly, and you can see Christopher jumping back to the rest of his team. Sharek and Xiao tried to chase him, but they weren't quite as swift.
Doing his best Hammond impression of the old loop-de-loop, but Kenzie now is in a dangerous position. He's got his eyes on to the Zenyatta, but Kodak quickly spots him out and sends an orb his way. He's been put on notice, so now he's got to try and move around, asking there. SMG versus the scope, but neither Widow's going to go down.
Only a little bit of damage. A little bit of damage onto Mete as well, as they are able to get blue box control. Unfixed on the Genji, who's been a rather formidable force, but early ultimate available for Zapper here. 5% away from that Dragon Strike. Nowhere near that blade for Unfixed. 33% and counting here. There's the Infocytes coming through from Asking as the first ultimate use of the game. Use that grappling hook to get away from the dangerous monkey, but met with a couple of orbs as well. Asking being subdued right now, and in fact, maybe Sharek being tranquilized as Christopher does end up killing him off.
Kart's very close to completions right here, only 5 meters away, but Winstrike have lost both of their tanks now. Christopher's going to be there, and Charles going to try and move this forward, forcing himself to be killed off as this Baby Diva, but potentially a bit of stagger coming through. Christopher has no such mercy, going to be frying the nerves of the Korean pilot, sending her back to spawn and giving her that mech back. But now Sharek is going to be here with the Primal Rage. He can try and control the placement of Asking, make sure he's never in a position where he can take the shots that he wants to take. But he's still got to worry about Zapre, who has the Dragon Strike ready. Main can heal everyone up with that Transcendence, but ideally you just want to be evading it instead so you don't have to invest as much to try and counter it out.
Well, there's the Dragon Strike. He's going to clear everybody off from the high ground, and Zapre is going to take a rather nice control of it as he does end up ending the life of Main and Aang with a couple of swift shots from the Storm Arrows, and that will mean a rather quick and decisive push here, or defense even rather, from Snakes. But Winstrike have that Dragon Blade available, and they've also got a couple of tank ults as well to actually dislodge those people off from the high ground. The main target here is going to be Cave, even Asking with that Dragon Blade.
Yeah, Cave is of course going to be the main target, like you said, but potentially can be saved because Kodak has the Transcendence ready to go. 300 HPS is enough to, well, it's enough to deal with a Dragon Blade, but you know what else is enough to deal with a Dragon Blade? A quick 300 HP shot to the head.
Yep, Asking is going to find one kill. There's the self-destruct we were talking about. It's going to complunk itself right on top of the cart. And in fact, look how close Mete is to going down. Nice deflect coming through from Unfix, saves his life, but Kenzie not quite so fortunate as Asking is coming out on top of this Widow duel for now.
Interestingly, Asking and Zapre appear to be playing these snipers like you would a dive when you're trying to coordinate your DPS. We saw Sharek get taken out in mid-air because both Zapre and Asking had a bead on him. They both put their damage into him and managed to take him out while he was there, when he was in range of his healers. Winstrike here still have used 2 of their ultimates in that last fight with only 48 seconds remaining. They have 40 used, but Snakes are just as prepared with their own 4 ready to go.
Zapre's got another Dragon Strike. Chao's going to jump straight towards him, and so is Unfix. He's going to pull out the blade, but instant Transcendence coming through from Snakes in order to keep the rest of the team alive and well. Winstrike now moving on to the cart, have to be able to push it. Look how far it's pushed back. It was only 5 meters a couple of minutes ago, but not being able to touch the cart here has been a bit of an issue for them. And now Mete on the floor with Christopher just corralling the rest of the DPS into a small hole, and Zapre is going to pay that price for it. Asking still dueling out with the enemy Widowmaker. Kenzie isn't going to be able to quite find him just yet, but Asking is going to have the rest of the team to back him up here. However, Sharek and Xiao are going to be able to deal out dispatch with the rest of Snakes. Doesn't matter how many shots Asking was able to get off from Kenzie because the cart had already been delivered.
We talk about the DPS lines of these 2 teams so much, but Sharek and Xiao always reliable. Kenzie going to pick up both DPS there, proving himself to be the alpha sniper in this particular matchup. But now he's got to worry about Asking having those infra sites, knows exactly where everyone is, whereas he only knows where Christopher is, because Christopher sniffing on that Venom mine for a moment.
When tripping, literally, as the Winston.
You're tripping, bro.
Uh-oh. Unfix has tripped over a little something. Asking did put a bullet to his head, and that means he's going to get spaceship control now. And that's exactly what Winstrike had, not just a second ago. They just gave it up as Asking finds yet another kill in Kenzie and Sharek. Infocytes is going to be online pretty soon again if they're not careful. Snakes, again, holding very far forward. Winstrike right now. Just maybe in their own heads at the moment. This took so long for them to push this first point, meaning they haven't got much time left. 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Indeed, that's not much for the second point, and of course that first checkpoint, or rather, that first gate has been closed, which means you've only got these tiny points of ingress to try and make your way into the hangar, and you can see that Christopher and Meta, they are ready to greet anyone who comes in. Even if they're giving a lot of damage, both of these tanks are going to get a lot of healing and give Cave that ultimate in this process.
Oh, Zapre almost finding the kill onto Aang, and in fact, Asking is going to help him do just that. Mete taking out Sharek as well. Another quick push here from Snakes to actually force Winstrike back. They come through those small doors, and they are just held with a hail of bullets and arrows and just everything else. They're throwing the kitchen sink at them at the moment. And you can see right now, Snakes have been able to build up a perfect ultimate bank. They've got Emphasize ready for this next push, and there's only 60 seconds remaining.
Kenzie had a cheeky peek, but was quickly dissuaded by the combined efforts of Christopher and Asking. And now Asking does have the Emphasize ready. Everyone knows what Unfix is going to be. They can suspect him of having that Dragon Blade ready to go. Out comes the Dragon Strike. Dragon's going to be flying everywhere later into this fight.
Sharek's going to go down first yet again, and Asking once more finding Kenzie. He's always had the upper hand on Gibraltar. This is why Snakes wanted this map. You pick the map, you win the map, apparently. 30 seconds now remain. They do have that Dragon Blade available. Winstrike need to be able to just get on that backline, kill off Asking, but they still have to deal with Kodak's Transcendence.
Yeah, not only that, if you deal with Asking, you still got to worry about Zapre, who's hitting arrow after arrow, building up to these dragons incredibly quickly. Mete does have the self-destruct as well, and Christopher's ready to drop down upon these exposed enemies and bathe them in the Tesla coil.
Wow, early self-destruct on top of the cart there to actually get the remake from Chow. Went solo, was actually forced to use the ultimate, and now Unfix is getting jumped on as well. He hasn't found a point of ingress just yet. Finally, they find the main tank of Snakes. They end up killing Christopher, but a Transcendence comes through from Kodak, so they're actually able to get the res rather safely. Unfix now has a blade available to him with no defeating factors for him. They end up killing Asking off as Sharek finds the kill. Unfix goes extremely low, takes a couple of slices and chunks out of Mete's mech. He goes extremely low though, however, and isn't able to actually finish off the kill. Only just then were they able to get the D-Mech with the help of Kenzie on that Tracer.
They got to stay on cart though. Kenzie's come back on the emergency Tracer, and now they're facing down such long-range damage from the Hanzo, from the Zenyatta. Asking's over onto the McCree as well, trying to be the Sheriff of Gibraltar.
Zapre is going to go down. That does lead them to finally get the cap. Only 1 minute and 30 seconds added to the time bank though. It's been a struggle for Winstrike.
It all fell apart for the defensive Snakes, fell at the last hurdle there. Christopher fell early, Cave went in for res, and Kodak was forced to preemptively use that Transcendence to make sure that resurrection could be completed. And once that Transcendence was used, it meant that Unfixed had a clear path of that blade to try and take out Asking. He found himself isolated in the backline. He was trying to go for a cheeky flank, but instead he was cut down. And now Asking is going to be moving back over to the Widowmaker, moved over quickly to the McCree, and now it's back to double sniper.
Kenzie did give up that pulse bomb as well, was on the Tracer not a moment ago. Sharek going extremely low, has to be very careful in these tight corridors as a Discord orb will land him extremely low. Kodak getting forced back now. Sharek jumps in, and there's the sound barrier as well coming through from Winstrike. Lands on 6 members, they're going to be very hardy. And now we're Asking falling as well. That's a main DPS source now lost for Snakes. And Mete instantly gets taken out as he does get the D-Meg, but instant Doomfist coming through from Zapre once more is going to meet the wrath of Kenzie. Kenzie finds yet another kill in Cave, who was up in the air on the Mercy, and now he has this long, perfect tunneling sightline onto this point. The Dragons come through from Unfix, but he doesn't seem to need them as a Storm Arrow does end the life of Christopher. They end up completing the round with a full cap and a full completion, but it was a struggle very much uphill for them. Kenzie only just at the end was taking control of the game on the Widowmaker.
Indeed he was. He managed to find the correct positioning there, and despite the efforts of Zapre on that Doomfist to try and make things happen, he managed to get Sharek up into the air, and of course you lose air control when you're hit by rising uppercuts, so we couldn't get away from a self-destruct that had been laid down by Mete. That could have been where Snakes turned it around, but instead Kenzie decided we're just going to pop heads here, there, and everywhere. Transcendence came out, but Transcendence can't do anything about burst damage. You can get healed for 300 HPS as much as you like, but when you got 0 health, doesn't matter at all, Jaws.
Can you imagine if Zen's ult did res? just get
resurrected everyone.
I know, it's a stupid idea, but
experience resurrection.
They were dead, and then whoop, straight back up again. Hey guys, how's it going? That'd be worse than old Mercy.
Why would you have Mercy if that could happen?
Just solo Zenyatta every single game.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Res and provide 300 HPS. Name a all broken combo. Now it is Snake's turn to attack. Winstrike on the defense. No wrecking ball, come on. Those high ceilings are so perfect for you to land a ground pound. Unfortunately, nothing
no time
of
to
the
mess
sorts.
around.
No. They just want to go double sniper, do what they do best. Unfix on the Hanzo, and we have Kenzie on the Widow.
And we saw just how resilient the Snake's defense here was with the double sniper. We'll have to see if Winstrike can try and recapture that magic here. They're going to have identical compositions, But it does look like this time Snakes are going to be coming out with a double sniper attack rather than the Genji that we saw from Unfix. And Unfix Genji was a little bit lackluster there. It's been better earlier in the series, especially on Temple of Anubis, where he was able to get a lot more done. Instead, here, he was often put down either by Christopher trying to chase him out with that Tesla coil that you can't deflect, or Zapray manages to catch him out because both Asking and Zapray are playing these different angles. They'll just call out the second that he uses that deflect.
Scary, scary stuff for the Genji. Because there's a lot of ground to cover as well, remember. It's not as enclosed as Anubis is. Very open is this map, and Gibraltar is going to be in session now. Snakes on the offense, like I just mentioned, and Asking playing extremely aggressively already. Finds the body shot onto Kenzie, didn't quite find the head, and that will be Unfix and Kenzie trying to take blue box control here. You can see Asking just dipping down, making sure his head doesn't get taken off.
Slowly going to be pushing the cart forward, and Asking's going to claim Kenzie to begin with. The Widow duel has been begun. And now, potentially, there may be room for a Rare. Zeng's going to make it happen, and Zapray's going to take a quick bullet, which is going to send the Scarpering, but Asking
he does it again. Okay, there we go. Asking finally goes down to Unfix, but Zapray is going to make sure Unfix pays for that, and Asking gets the res. That shot after shot onto Kenzie, they've already won this push, it seems, and with Zapray with box control, and you can see Asking on the floor, it's going to take Eng's life as well.
Absolutely brutal here from Asking. Shot after shot, and Zapray's there to pick up the pieces when it starts to fall apart. He's got the infra sights, but he doesn't need them just yet. He's going to use it to pick off stragglers. And now he's going to be trying to look for the Hanzo, but the Hanzo has a Storm Arrow. He didn't want to be there.
No, you do not, and you don't want to be in front of Zapray either, who's activated just that. Also, finds the flick onto Kenzie. Kimenga is going to go down. That will mean he's going to net himself a Dragon Strike. Now, speaking of Dragon Strikes, Zapray's going to have to hop out of there rather fast. He's going to launch his own onto the point. A lot of damage onto Chow. He's just buying for more time. Numbers definitely not in his favor right now. Just trying to buy every single second he can. Zapray claims his life and the mechs as well. Already up to 26, 40%. Okay, I'm not going to bother counting because he's already up to another one already.
A far healthier time bank here for Snakes than we saw from Winstrike. They have 5 minutes to try and move through the hangar. Not only that, they have control as it moves through this large door, meaning that they don't have to move through those tiny points of ingress, which we saw again and again shut down Winstrike. They do have forward positioning, and now Winstrike's going to be very much, the onus is on them to try and retake control here using what they have. And Eng and Cave are both using Valkyries right here.
Look at this cheeky angle from Asking. He's going to take out main as soon as he stepped outside that bubble. He's going to get jumped on by the Tracer. Kenzie now switching over, deciding he doesn't want to go Widow on Widow, mano a mano. No, he wants to go for the direct counter in the dive DPS. 2 resurrections on the Zenyatas, bring them back from the dead from the time being. Now means it does you have to be rather careful as Asking is going to go down to Kenzie. He finally finds his man with the help of that Discord Orb. Pass into the Iris. They are going to be able to use that on top of the point. That Transcendent's doing a lot of work, but that Pulse Bomb doing a whole lot of nothing as Kenzie actually gets taken out by Christopher there. Another Dragon Strike straight onto the point to clear the rest of them off, and now they have priority positioning and a man up as well.
It's going to force a retreat from Winstrike, which does mean they have time to get their reinforcements back. Meta's lost his mech, and now Chow's thrown his one in the self-destruct sequence. It will claim Cave.
All right, Cave is going to go down. Kodak's going to fall as well.
No supports
2
left.
Beautiful ultimates coming through from Unfix and Chow. Asking's actually jumped onto the McCree also to counteract Kenzie being so aggressive on this Tracer. Is going to find his life, so Kenzie 1-0 right now in the Tracer versus the McCree duel, but still, what a healthy time bang, like we mentioned before. 3 minutes and 30 seconds still remain.
But this is not a position you want to be in as an offense on Gibraltar. Like we said before, each one of these tiny doors means you can take a huge amount of damage coming through them. Looks like it's going to be a bit of bravery from Zapray. Knows for Asking is locking down these players, but they can't peek out and send some damage in towards him at the moment. In fact, they're going to use that to move on to the cart now. Asking, of course, abandoning McCree pretty sharpish, straight back onto his favoured Widow.
Oh yeah, exactly what he needs. Only for a quick push. Oh, Kenzie jumps straight on him. He's trying to duck around him. Doesn't quite get headshot. I was extremely close, but look who's up in the air. It's Cave to the rescue as he does pop that Guardian Valkyrie very quickly. Chow's actually going to get forced off the high ground here. Kenzie is going to have to be rather careful with Asking. We know Asking to clip many a Tracer head if he's not careful. Unfix is going to find the kill onto Zapray. Now Kenzie doing his work in the back line, but cannot just make any kills stick, in fact. He's having to actually rely on Unfix here to actually finish off the rest of them as he ends up claiming Kodak's life as well as Asking's.
Well, Kenzie's doing his job here. He's not necessarily the main DPS. He's leaving that to Unfix. Instead, he's making sure that both of these snipers are looking around at him. Because if Asking and Zapray are looking at the Tracer, Unfix doesn't have to peek in and out. He can be more consistent with his shots. He can take more time to line them up and get a lot more done with that Hanzo. You can see he's already built up towards yet another Dragon Strike. And he has full control over these small doorways through in which the snakes must sliver if they want to get towards a payload.
Half the time bank now depleted on the side of snakes. And Unfix does have that Dragon Strike. He's got the McCree once more. We want to see a big Deadeye from Asking or a big Dragon Strike coming through from Zapre. Kenzie once more in this position, very on the high ground, and has got that Pulse Bomb to his name also. He's going to look for something different here. Aerial Strike with the Pulse Bomb. Doesn't quite find anything, but corrals everybody backwards straight into those Dragons. Asking is going to go down, and Unfix just cementing himself onto the cart, forces out the Transcendence as well.
Meta's lost his mech, so that's not going to be available, and he's going to be taken down by Main, who's gone in with a double kill, and there is Unfix to finish us one off.
Call me a DPS. Zenyatta is going to be able to move forward. Meng finds 2 and nets himself a Transcendence to boot. And will be Unfix finally killing off Zapre, who was trying to survive as long as he could, and he's got 56% on another Dragon Strike.
Kev's got yet another Valkyrie there. That may well be the last hope of Snakes here. They've gone for a full sale swap up, Asking onto the Hanzo, taking that one off Zapre, and Zapre's like, okay, it's time for me to go. Man on man, Tracer on Tracer, Time Demon on Time Demon. They're about equal on Pulse Bomb's charge right now, but Kenzie's been very evasive thus far as they go in for that 1v1.
Asking going very low, has to be very careful. Unfix is going to be able to spot everybody out with that Sonic Arrow. He's going to try and jump up onto the spaceship. Very low is that Winston chasing out the Zenyatta. Doesn't want to tread too far as Unfix was waiting around the corner for him with a very fully drawn bow. Is still building up towards the ult. That's all they need. Sonic Arrow on the ground does mean everybody's positions are going to get revealed. The Dragons are going to get unleashed, but straight into the wall they go. Corrals everybody back into the waiting arms of Sharek. But look at the time bank now. Only 30 seconds remain, and with a resurrection onto Chow also, that does mean a very early remake for them as well.
30 seconds we used. Winstrike used their Valkyrie, and so did Snakes. And now it's going to be a tale of 2 Transcendences as we move forward, Jaws. Kodak's almost got his. His main's been waiting in the wings for so long. Asking almost has a Dragon Strike ready to go. They've been a bit lackluster thus far. Kenzie's making everyone turn around, and Zapre's got the Pulse in the back pocket. This could be an incredibly explosive fight because there's 2 on the field.
They have to be aggressive. Winstrike, they could just take themselves to the semi-finals right here, right now. Transcendence being unleashed by both teams to keep both of them alive. Kenzie's already going to find Christopher here, Asking trying his hardest to try and win this fight out. Sends those Dragons onto the point, but Winstrike are going to do exactly the same thing. Christopher gets resurrected in the madness of it all, and is self-destruct onto the ceiling of the spaceship itself. But Kenzie's going to take out Asking. He's just free in the back line to do as much damage as he possibly can. Tries to go for the melee on the enemy Tracer, but Zapre gets healed up in time. Finally, they're able to kill off the supports and the Tracer. Winstrike, they're almost going to get team wiped here, but they've still got another chance to fight.
That they do. They can still make the entrance. You can see Chow there is poised. Main's moving over onto the Lucio. He's going to speed everyone back. He's picked up Eng, who's almost got the Valkyrie. K is ready to join him, and Christopher's going to have to control the space here. The Primal Rage is ready to go. A Snake's fight for survival.
Chow's going very low as he does get demeked by Asking and killed off as well. Zapre trying to delay as much time in the backline as possible, but Asking finds yet another kill. Christopher unleashes the Primal Rage and finds his like for like in Sharek, and now Asking just clipping the wings of Eng is going to finally cement their points. Another overtime push in this map. 1 minute and 20 seconds now remain for Snakes.
And Chow can be nastily staggered here. He will end up throwing himself off the edge. Asking throws out a little bit of a farewell arrow, seeing if it would be caught by Chow. Unfortunately not. No extra ult charge for him, but he doesn't really need it. He's almost up towards the Dragon Strike. A passive charge should finish that one off for him. And Winstrike there, that loss was absolutely destructive to their time bank. They lost both of their support ultimates, neither of which will be available for the next fight, which means Kodak has such an advantage when it comes to this Transcendence. He can move everyone forward.
All that Pulse Bomb from Zapre almost stuck Main, but brave in the face of danger is the Zenyatta, and he was able to survive. Speaking of Transcendences, there's one from Snakes. They're going to be able to push forward, and Asking still with that Dragon Strike in tow. Chow's going to go very low, and you can see Zapre already nicely farming himself up another Pulse Bomb. Unfix is going to be there to pay him the price, though. Chow is going to go down, so DPS for tank for the time being, and Kenzie is going to take the kill on Cave also. Self-destruct in midair, doesn't quite find anything. Invulnerability frame from Chow there to actually keep Unfix from there to actually keep him from going down. And now 20 seconds remaining yet again, and Unfix still has those Dragons.
The Snakes were sent scurrying. They've got 16 seconds remaining. If they can complete this, we will get another round here on Gibraltar, but it does look like Christopher's been caught out. He's taking a headshot here. He desperately needs to build up towards that Primal Rage. He's found it. Potentially he can use it to get here onto the cart. But Kenzie, he's going to be there waiting for him, and Sharek as well, with that Primal Rage and the Transcendence at his back too.
They had the imprecise. They knew exactly where everybody was. There's the Transcendence coming through from main. Chow's already taken out Christopher. This could be their semi-final
What a
ticket
stick.
punch here. But a nice stick from onto Unfix. He's going to go down, and main's going to fall as well. A Transcendence through from Snakes might just keep them in the game. Asking is going to block one of those spawns off with his own Dragon Strike, but the resurrection onto Unfix might be all they need. As Self-Destruct's launched up into the air, and it kills Cave. Unfix getting up, and this might just be the hero that Winstrike need. They've got spawn priority as well. The Monkey is going to come back alive, and so is Aang, as he's there to heal up the rest of his team. The Valkyrie's there. It's up in the sky. Sharik is going to fall. Mete finally finds the kill, and Kenzie building up to another pulse bomb. Mete is just you, mate, on the point. He's going to try and pulse bomb him, but Kenzie does manage to get the eat. Chow does get resurrected, kills the mech in the end. A resurrection onto Sharik. Also, Christopher gets rested the madness as well. Unfix built himself up another Dragon Strike in this fight. This could be it. Winstrike could just win here.
And yes, they could. They're looking over after Zapray, but no one's on the point. Overtime's ticked on down, and Winstrike will claim this 3-1 eventually.
What a overtime push and a half coming through. 2 OT pushes to secure the second point, and the spawn priority and Unfix, the clutch master, coming out in the end, clutching the game out. Winstrike winning the series 3-1.
Attrition just proved too much at the end of Gibraltar. Cave had to fly back with the Valkyrie. He managed to get the resurrection off onto Christopher, but he was quickly focused down, even with the lack of Discord Orb from the side of Winstrike after they decided they were going to move on to the Lucio. Get everyone back, really speed up the hustle when it came to that defense, and eventually Unfix just managed to click on enough heads.
3-1 was the current scoreline. Winstrike end up taking it. Looks like the votes were more or less right over on the desk and the chat. We're going to jump over to the guys, though. They're going to break down the series even more.